I showed up the second night for a GA down in this amphitheater, and I had a drum, and I was just feeling the rhythm in my heart, man. Like something so moving was happening, and I couldn't even tell what it was, but I almost wanted to cry just being in the spirit.
Man, this ain't no free kid. How many people there? Oh, you can stay. You got to go.
150, 100, maybe 200.
Now.
That's just a vague guess.
What was the energy that night?
It was crackling.
I know,
I didn't know.
And mostly because like individuals from so many different groups, so many different demographics together. This and everything else. Like, at first that can be a little scary, but the sense was that in a society that puts everybody in corners, tries to isolate things, tries to isolate the problems from the wealth, from the old, from the young. All of a sudden, we had this coming together of every color of the rainbow, every economic status, and every problem that people want to hide from, which is huge. It's crucial to face the problems that the society tries to hide together. And that is the ground for me, is that the closest metaphor is family. We've lost our center in what seems to bond everyone I meet here is a recognition that something is seriously broken. Not just a little broken, not let's have a committee to discuss it. Serious brokenness is coming out in how we treat incarceration, and how we treat healthcare, and how we treat poverty, and how we treat the environment, and how we treat food. It's just all kind of the same problem, that we're centering our ideas around individual advancement, individual monopoly playing. And we've lost the center that we are all one, that we have to be in it together. Because when we try to isolate problems and make them disappear, whether it be in a jail cell or move along on the street, move along, you can't stay here, we get some seriously screwed up issues that are not natural. It is not natural for human beings to be isolated in ones and twos at night. It is a basic human right to gather and protect each other and build community. And in this culture, every square inch is owned. It is very unnatural, and it is putting extremely confused people isolated in dark corners where they can be raped, where they can be beaten and assaulted, and it gets hidden in statistics or a one paragraph newspaper article, and another one the next week, and another one the next day. And the people who've gathered here are saying, absolutely not, no more. We will put together a seed of the culture we really need to be living in, and we'll do it right here. And we will keep coming back to keep redoing it, because the women in here are safe. There were fights at first that decreased. We were facing drug and violence issues that are always here in Oakland. We're just putting them right in front of City Hall and resolving them with each other. We're not waiting for somebody whose job it is to do it. We're doing it. It's a sacred human right. It's a sacred human right. Absolutely beginning of revolution. Egypt marched for Oakland. Egypt had a march in Cairo for Oakland. 3,000 people were on the streets of Broadway, New York, for Oakland. We are being watched by so many people with the same needs and the same call. And by standing up together here, and by standing up again when we get beaten down, we can expose the bullshit that's been going on for decades. A young white military man was shot. That's how this attention is really coalescing. That's been happening to people in this city for decades. And I saw 10 Marines get up on stage last night, friends of Scott Olsen, and say, this has to be the time to say we must completely restructure police brutality issues. How many police in this city live outside this city? You know the one reason I've heard for that to happen? Because they're scared of retaliation. Why are they scared of retaliation? Because they know how they've been acting on the streets. They know. Why don't they? The only legitimate understanding I have of being a policeman is that you love your community and want to help keep it safe. That is the only reason they can have a billy club and a gun. And that is not what's happening in this city. First of all, when you're faced with a massive threat of force, what does it do to you psychologically? There were 300 hippies, hobos, and homies in here. There were over 500 cops with 5 armored tanks. An armored vehicle with a gun turret. I didn't see a single ambulance. I did not see a single ambulance from any of them. Scott Olsen was carried away on bikes and driven away in a protester car to the hospital. Like, the absurdity is beyond belief. I saw maybe one bottle thrown, maybe one. I saw a cardboard box thrown. I'm sure there were more bottles thrown, whatever. They were in riot gear with shields and masks. They thought they were going to be facing guns behind wooden barriers. You know what happened when everybody came in here? They linked arms and chanted. Linked arms and chanted. We had cops with billy clubs and fucking razor blades slashing tents without knowing who was inside. They were kicking the tents. There were children in these tents. There were homeless women in these tents. And they were slashing them. And the guy got up on stage and said, let's make no mistake, they did that because they liked it. They are afraid of us, they are afraid of what we represent, and they enjoyed what they were doing. We have to take advantage of 3G phones with video cameras and Facebook, because it can spread fast that way. And individual independent reporters like you can take images, take video, and share it quickly. It's a new world in that way. And it's many eyes that will change this. It's many eyes that will change this in a way that it never could have been changed before. And that's why we're gathered together. It's a sacred right to gather together. This is a seed, it has to be, because people must be allowed to come together to protect each other and to come up with ideas of how to change the horrible problems we're facing that this hall has not answered.